Before we begin, I'd like to point out that I was originally going to talk about the entire franchise for this video, but a lot of stuff happened on my end, and before you know it, I ran out of time. So we're just going to talk about the first film in this video. With that said, I hope you enjoy. Aloha everybody, and welcome back to Where and When. Hey, have you seen what today is? That's right, it's June 26, 2026. Or, if you prefer, 62626. And on this very special day, I think it's only fair that we acknowledge it by discussing the setting of a very specific film. So let's talk about Lilo and Stitch. The Disney Renaissance was seen as a sign of good luck for Walt Disney Pictures. After suffering big time in the 1980s, they were finally back on top in the world of American animation, with films like Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, and The Lion King becoming huge wins for the company. And then the 2000s came along, and suddenly it seemed like they were going back downhill. Yeah, with the exception of Pixar, most of the films made by Disney during this time frame either underperformed or bombed hard at the box office. That is, except for this film. Although a modest success, Lilo and Stitch still fared better than most of the Disney films that came out in that decade. It spawned 3 sequels, a TV show, an anime, and a Chinese cartoon, as well as a live-action remake that may or may not be getting a sequel. So yeah, I think it's safe to say that this franchise has a pretty big legacy, and it all began with this film in 2002. An alien scientist named Jumba has illegally created an experimental alien, so this council of other aliens jails him and plots to dispose of this creature. But on the way, the creature breaks out of containment and escapes to planet Earth, where he befriends a little girl named Lilo who calls the creature Stitch. The aliens plan to capture Stitch, so they release Jumba from jail on the proviso that he and this other alien named Pleakley bring Stitch back to the council. All while throughout the film, Stitch learns the importance of family and starts to question what his true purpose in life is. So, without any further ado, let's surf on in and talk about where and when Lilo and Stitch takes place. Where does it take place? The film opens in the headquarters of the United Galactic Federation, which is located in the city of Fleemzorg on the planet Turo in the Turo system. But none of that is real. So far as we know. After breaking out of a transport ship called a Durgan, Stitch escapes into hyperspace and travels to Earth, or as they call it,
Quadrant 17, Section 005, Area 51.
And he makes a crash landing in Hawaii. Hawaii has 8 main islands. The Big Island, which is also called Hawaii, Oahu, Maui, Kauai, Lanai, Molokai, Kaholoa, and Nia'au. The exact island that Stitch lands on is Kauai, and most of the film takes place here in a small fictional town called Kokawa. There are 2 points of reference I'd like to bring up, both of which come from the show. In the episode Felix, Nani mentions that she's about 15 minutes from the airport.
I'm at the airport right now. I should be home in about 20 minutes. Oh, make that 15 minutes. There's my ride. Lilo!
And in the episode Cannonball, Lilo points out the general area of the town.
We're here, and it landed somewhere over there.
She gestures to the south shore of Kauai, so this places the town of Kokawa in that area. And before we go further, I want to discuss the film's climax that we almost got. In the original climax, the sky chase was set to go through Hawaii's capital city, Honolulu, on the island of Oahu. But that's not the climax that we got, and I'll talk about why when we get to the random trivia portion. The climax in the final cut has them flying over the clouds and also over most of the Hawaiian islands. As the chase winds down to a close, Gantu's computer shows Stitch on the Big Island. Stitch drives a tanker truck through Volcano National Park and lands it in an active volcano. Thanks to the map on Gantu's computer, the exact volcano Stitch crashes into is Kilauea, which is the most active volcano in all of Hawaii. At the end of the film, Cobra Bubbles reveals that he used to be in the CIA, and how in 1973, one of his missions led him to the town of Roswell, New Mexico.
You look familiar.
CIA, Roswell.
Roswell is a hub for die-hard fans of aliens and pretty much anything extraterrestrial, and it all stems from a story back in July of 1947 where a UFO supposedly crash-landed on a farm about 75 miles northwest of Roswell. Everything else in this subcategory comes from the film's credits. Lilo and her hula class are shown performing at the Merry Monarch Festival. This is traditionally held at the Edith Kanakaole Stadium in Ho'olulu Park in Hilo on the Big Island. we see a picture of the family hanging out at the statue of Duke Hanamoku.
Hawaii's greatest athlete?
An official ambassador of Aloha?
Yeah, that guy. Anyway, his statue is on Waikiki Beach in Honolulu, which we've already established as being on Oahu. And we cap off our location segment of this video with a picture of the family in front of Graceland, the home of Elvis Presley in Memphis, Tennessee. Where does it take place? The whole film takes place over the course of 4 days. Our starting point is this line from Lilo.
Every Thursday I take Pudge the fish a peanut butter sandwich.
Pudge is a fish.
And we have this line from Cobra Bubbles a few minutes later.
In case you're wondering, this did not go well. You have 3 days to change my mind.
So, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Cool, but that doesn't really tell us the time period. So let's do some sleuthing. Our starting point is Cobra Bubbles' mission to Roswell in 1973.
CIA, Roswell, 1973.
Let's see if we can go further. The statue of Duke Hanamoku was unveiled on August 24th, 1990, putting us ahead by almost 2 decades. A few of the vehicles in this film have specific license plates. No, I'm not talking about the A113 gag, I'm talking about the rainbow plates shown on the vehicles. Hawaii didn't start using this plate design until 1991. Nani's bedroom has a poster of the Disney movie Mulan, which was released on June 5th, 1998. So far we have our earliest set date. The film can't take place earlier than 1998. From the dialogue strewn throughout the franchise, this takes place in a time period when VCRs and VHS tapes were still popular.
Record it for me.
Well, I could do that.
Make sure to set your VCR.
Just ordered the tape already.
While both VCRs and DVD players did exist at the same time, VHS started going into decline in the early to mid-2000s. In fact, the last film to be released on VHS was New Line Cinema's A History of Violence in 2006. So this puts our film in the time frame of 1998 to 2006. And the answer to our question lies in the adoption papers signed by Lilo. If you look really closely at it, you can see the date, September 22nd, 2001. Since this happens the day after Stitch lands on Earth, this means we now have our sequence of events. September 21st, 2001, Experiment 626 lands on planet Earth. September 22nd, Lilo adopts 626 and calls him Stitch. By the end of the day, a sequence of shenanigans costs Nani her job. September 23rd, Nani goes on a job search with Little Lug, and Lilo almost drowns while surfing with Nani and David. September 24th, Lilo and Stitch are both captured by Gantu, so Nani teams up with the aliens in a successful rescue mission, and the Galactic Federation makes Stitch a permanent resident of Earth. And this probably goes without saying, but none of these days fall on the exact sequence of weekdays as stated in the film. And there's another fact I wanted to bring up. They explain in an episode of the show that Planet Turo and Earth have a significant time difference.
I just put batteries in that clock. How come it's slow?
It's not slow. Stitch set for Planet Turtle time. They're 438 hours behind.
438 hours totals out to 18 days and 6 hours. So this means that the trial at the beginning of the film was held on the day we Earthfolk considered to be September 4th, 2001. And to wrap up this segment, on one of the DVD copies of this film, there's a bonus feature called Treatise on Stitch, which is supposed to be a governmental report talking about Stitch and when he arrived on Earth. The treatise gives the date Stitch crash lands on Kauai as March 12, 2002. However, the time they give for Stitch entering Earth's atmosphere is 3:35 a.m. They make it look like this scene is early morning, when from Lilo's coinciding dialogue, we know this is later in the evening from what the treatise would say was the previous day.
I hit Myrtle Edmonds today.
Now, far be it from me to question the exobiologists in the United States Air Force, but I think it's safe to say that this report is wildly incorrect. And there is so much more to talk about with this franchise, but I'll save it all for a future video. But for now, let's just wrap this one up and move along. Lilo and Stitch takes place on the south shore of Kauai in late September of 2001. Now remember when I said the original film's climax was swapped out? Well, here's what was going to happen. The heroes would chase Gantu's ship, much like in the final cut, but instead of using their spacecraft and flying through the sky, they steal a passenger jet and fly through downtown Honolulu before catching up to Gantu. There was just one problem. Before the scene could be completed, 9/11 happened during production, and a kids movie where the good guys forcibly steal an airliner, fly it through a big city, and even cause damage to tall buildings would be seen in pretty bad taste considering what just happened. So, the hijacking part was obviously scrapped, and the animation team swapped out the backgrounds to make it look like a spaceship rather than an airplane, and changed the setting to mountains instead of a big city. But while we're here, let's throw in a bonus fun fact. Remember that adoption paper I was talking about? I know I said if you look closely at it, you'll see the date for when this is supposed to take place, but that's not the only thing you'll see. A closer look reveals that the adoption paper is actually a heartfelt thank you from the higher-ups at Disney to the animation companies who worked on the film. And the companies in question are Walt Disney Animation Studios, Walt Disney Feature Animation Florida, Walt Disney Feature Animation Paris, and Disney MGM Studios.
Aliens are all about rules.
Mahalo to everybody for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, you know what to do. Hit that like button and subscribe for more. Stay tuned for more Where and When's coming your way. Aloha. That means goodbye, too.